Hi, let me tell you a story about my discovery of a new species of mushroom, fungi, never before recorded in the United Kingdom. This was in 2020. I'd been out looking for mushrooms to paint for my fantastic book, A Brush with Fungi, and it had been very dry and there wasn't that much around, but I was walking along this quite remote track in this pine wood. And at the side of the path, I could see these mushrooms. There must have been about 20, 30, maybe 40 of them scattered around. They weren't particularly big. It was a chocolate brown cap, which kind of merged with the grass, believe it or not. And I picked one up and I was admiring the very sort of nice, warm, dark brown cap. And I looked at the stem. The stem was really very, very dark brown and velvety looking. And then I looked at the gills, which were starkly white. The contrast was actually quite profound. And I thought to myself, hang on, I've never seen this mushroom before. So I must pick a few, take them home and paint them for my book, which I duly did. And then this often happens. I paint them first and then I start looking through all my books to find out what they are. Well, for the life of me, I couldn't find out. I couldn't find them in any of my books. So I did something which I don't normally do. I took a photograph of them and stuck them on Facebook. And somebody got back and says, oh, I recognise that. That's Lactarius ligniotis, which is its Latin name. It's also called velvet milkcap. I've only ever seen it in Nova Scotia. And I thought, oh, this is interesting. This is great. So I checked on the British Mycological Society's website and discovered that there were about a handful of sightings of this particular fungi in the UK. Geoffrey Kibbe, who is a retired assistant researcher at Kew Gardens and an absolute expert on fungi, he's written goodness knows how many books. I got in touch with him and he said, please send me some of the mushrooms down to me and I'll send them off to a lab and have them analysed. Now, normally he would have sent them off to the lab at Kew Gardens, but this is in 2020. This is just when COVID has started to kick in, so the lab there was shut. So he sent them off to a lab in Spain, and months and months and months later, he got back to me. And let me find a page, because I've written about this story in my book, and I must quote from his email. He says, regarding this mushroom, this is the first authentic record. Previous specimens at Kew were all something else. So all the ones that had been assumed to have been Lactarius ligniotis or velvet milkcap were in fact something else, which made my discovery the first for the UK. Obviously, of course, I've painted it. It's in my book, and I've just go to the page here. It's actually on page 5, and that's what it looks like. Stunningly beautiful. And I'll show you the little story at the back while I'm here, because I think it's worth a read. Let me hold it up to the camera. I'll try to. It's called The Elusive Lactarius. And the story doesn't stop there. Let me just turn the page, because there's a really nice photograph of the fungus. Beautiful, beautiful thing. 2 years later, 2022, on Facebook, someone put up a post saying, oh, I've just found some velvet milkcap up in D-side. And I thought, oh, wow, that's great. I've got the first record. This chap's got the second record. And then, oddly, again, 2 months later, I'm in another pine wood in Angus, and I find them again. So I've got the first and third record. And the story is in the book, as are 260 different species of fungi, all painted in watercolour from every possible angle. This book is, in effect, a field guide, but I'm not calling it a field guide because it's certainly something you wouldn't carry around with you. But it's a coffee table book. And if you want a copy, Summerfield Books, based in Penrith, are selling it. A bargain. Enjoy.